Here goes the record, and there goes the encoder, and we are good to go.
Welcome once again. Thank you for hanging out with us. This is the one and only IT in the D Show. We made it all the way up to episode 367. Thank you for hanging out with us. We are broadcasting live.
Just
from
stop
our
and think how crazy that is, Bob. Yeah, like seriously, do you ever we've been doing this for over 7 years now, and yeah. Oof. Anyway, sorry. Carry on.
No. This is Bob, the sales guy. That is Dave the Geek. Randy, I do the Twitters, is doing the Twitters. Find us online, itandthed.com. Do us a favor, give us a like on the socials and subscribe to us everywhere. Fine podcasts are sold.
Hey, and events, go figure, we're not having any. In fact, I'm pretty sure the way things are looking and everything we've heard from Fred, who was queued up to come back here pretty shortly. In fact, I don't know about you, Bob, but we've had the apparently the first teacher at the high school in the area here pop positive, and a kid in my kid's middle school pop positive. So here we go. Yay, good times.
Hey, not to start off a little somber, but I just hearts and prayers to the entire Dieters family. Jim Dieters, the owner of my corner bar, Duffy's Pub, passed away last week. Really sad. The whole neighborhood kind of got together, social distanced appropriately, but said their piece. And it was pretty sad. But yeah, hearts out to the entire Dieters family. Piece of my neighborhood, kind of wiped clean. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think you've got a plaque on a bar stool there, don't you? I mean, that's,
Oh, a couple. Yeah.
All right. Well, we are joined tonight by Bedrock Detroit, or Bedrock. You guys, obviously, if you're in the area, you know who Bedrock is, and we are always obviously fans of good things going on in and around the city. So, hey, Leona, Jeremy, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Of course.
So glad. Well, I guess I'm gonna speak for myself. I'm glad. I don't know about Jeremy.
I'm glad too. It's nice to be here. Glad to be able to have this platform to speak on some of the things that we're doing around the city as an organization.
Yeah, so I mean, let's dive into that, because I was actually talking with a few folks over the course of the last couple of weeks, whether it was our show hosts or just whoever, just talking about this and you guys and what's going on, and a lot of them aren't aware of all the things that Bedrock is doing, and so I guess let's skate across a few and then deep dive where we need to. First and foremost, I know you have this open business directory that's out at bedrockdetroit.com. So let's talk about that and what you got going on there and what that's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. So Bedrock, for those who might not know, we're a real estate and development company, one of the largest located in the city of Detroit. We do a lot of philanthropic efforts to really just bolster up the city and where we live and work and play. And so as part of those efforts, as our company tries to help businesses rebound from this launch, we've kind of tried to solve for one major problem that people have right now, and it's just understanding which businesses are open versus which ones are closed. The worst thing to do is to try to call your favorite restaurant and realize that they're not there.
Or worse, show up.
Absolutely, or show up on the spot and have to drive back in the other direction because you weren't able to get the services or food that you were looking for. So one of the easiest steps to overcome some of that was to create this open business directory, which lists all the businesses that have reopened since that initial shutdown back in March. And on there, we've populated about 100 businesses, everything from restaurants to retailers to service industries that's open right now. So it saves a lot of people a lot of hustle and bustle by just being able to click online and see which businesses in the Bedrock portfolio are open and operating during these times.
So, I went and took a look, and it's good information. The one thing I will tell you, of course, I'm a geek, so I have to find these things. The one thing I would love to see on this is like a category sort. Like, so you've got it, you've got all partially open, and, parking available and that kind of stuff. Being able to sort by, hey, I'm looking for restaurants, I'm looking for whatever else, like specifically, would be perfect. I mean, it's not a huge list to scroll through, but we live in an instant gratification society, and I just want to click, and done.
Duly noted.
Well, and I know, like one of the things that I'd heard early on that I don't think got a whole lot of play is like you guys, if I'm understanding correctly, basically renegotiated a lot of your rent structures with your tenants as well to help them stay open during all this, which was a huge thing, I thought.
Yeah, Dave, I'll jump in there. I mean, working for this company, and that was a time where you really were able to see how our team was able to come together and pull together some resources to really jump in for our tenants that we knew were going to be suffering. The various levels of the executive order that were closing down businesses. And so Bedrock waived rent, expenses, parking fees for many of our retailers, our first floor retailers, April, May, and June. And so not that we did it to be the first, but it just so happened that we were kicking ourselves into high gear. What can we do and what can we do right now? Knowing that we were going to have businesses that were calling to say, I'm a gym, I'm closed. I will not have any income coming in, any revenue coming in. So it was great to be a part of it. So there was wave one of that, right? So we started, and so just think of that as a property management company. We get our revenue through the collection of, and knowing that we had to say the right thing to do at this time was to take care of our city, to take care of our tenants, to take care of these business owners. And so that was just wave one. And so then we issued wave two of it. So we weren't even done yet because we started to see that COVID was not letting up. We were not going to get back.
It wasn't going to be not a 2-week flatten the curve and we're all good thing. No, it did not turn out that way.
It wasn't just going to go away. Like you're going to see it and it's going to go away, right? So that didn't happen.
It's not magically disappearing anytime soon, no matter how bored people are with it. No.
Right. And so
Dave, you know when it's disappearing.
Yeah, Bob's theory is it disappears the day after the election. That's Bob's theory.
Bob sounds like my husband. So if my husband was in here, he would just be over me. I told you so, right? So that's his conspiracy theory. So Bob, I can appreciate you saying that. But don't say it too loud.
I only say it because I think it's funny, not because I believe it, to the record.
Right. I believe it to be 100% factual, and that's why I say it. So because we didn't see, COVID is still around. Businesses are open, but not open-ish.
Yeah.
Right, open-ish, right? Where you have to have a directory, and businesses are saying, we're here, but we can't be here at full capacity. We don't have the staff. I mean, just drive around any neighborhood, every restaurant, every retailer we're hiring signs. Everybody is hiring. Yeah. And so just the idea of staffing it, even if they wanted to, many businesses can't. People are afraid. People, just are don't have the capacity to get there. So many things that impact that. So as a landlord, we said, okay, we couldn't just make this through June because what about the rest of the year? Our businesses are still being impacted. And so we continue to monitor the guidelines, the executive orders, what do we need to do? But many of this has gone through the end of the year where businesses have been able to apply to get their deposits back, to rent relief, all sorts of amazing things in this program that, and we didn't launch it and then say, hey, we did this and now you have to come to us. We literally put a campaign out to connect with our tenants to make sure that they knew about it. So it wasn't just a thing that we did and the tenants had to just come to us. We went to the tenants and you had our property management team reaching out to them, talking them through this rent relief and this structure. So it was something very phenomenal to witness and to be a part of.
So we've been talking about, one of the biggest scares coming after COVID is going to be the turn of commercial real estate. I mean, obviously this is your guys' business. I mean, how is this talked about constantly all day in your office? I mean, I think it has to be. Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, there are unlimited Zoom calls about and just commercial real estate, the entire industry. I'm a part of a real estate leadership group, and that's one of the things that we talk about is what does real estate look like post-COVID? And, everybody is trying to forecast, but we're all living through something that we don't know. And so the best thing that we can do is be prepared to pivot pay attention to the safety guidelines and how they're rolling out, and try to be creative. Like, that's really what it's about. So not just commercial real estate, but you see just businesses all over having to figure out how to pivot their business. You see small businesses, especially in Detroit, that are figuring out they were only brick and mortar that now have to do online, that had never thought about it before. Business owners figuring out shipping and logistics with their online products. We had downtown where we had the curbside pickups because, restaurants that, you could only come in and order now had to figure out how do we continue to keep our doors open. And so all of these different things that we all are having to tap into that are creative, that are outside of our comfort zone, but this is where COVID is pushing us to, so that all of us, Bedrock and small businesses and retail alike, can come out on the other side somewhat whole.
I'm
just
so you guys what are you guys go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say, just to kind of piggyback off of Liana there, it wasn't enough just to provide that rent relief. There were so many services that were being offered by so many different entities from the city level, the state level, and the national level. And so in addition to that rent relief, we also kind of consolidated these loan efforts and other resources that were available to small businesses in the city, and helped to educate some of our tenants in addition to just providing that relief too. Because again, the relief was about sustaining, right?
Okay.
Not closing your doors, having some capital to continue to operate, but it was those resources that were really going to pull them into the future and get them through this indefinite pandemic. And so, we really tried to take this holistic approach to the rent relief and some other efforts that we've been executing. And that was an additional one that went along hand in hand with the rent relief program.
So I'm curious, and if you don't, that's fine. I'm just wondering if you've managed to capture any statistics or data about Bedrock tenants versus other tenants in the city. Like is what you're doing proving to be that much of a boon that, like, hey, Bedrock tenants have a 20, 30, whatever, percent greater chance of having made it through this? Because I mean, every day there's another story about such and such restaurant. I mean, hey, the news just broke yesterday that the entire Majestic complex is up on LoopNet. And so, is like, have you guys managed to figure out how that's working out for your tenants?
So one of our approaches was to not just take care of the people who continuously operate within our spaces, but it was again this holistic approach about small businesses across the city of Detroit. And so in the very beginning of this, once we started to roll out some of these programs for Bedrock tenants, we also partnered with the city, who was developing a program called Detroit Means Business. Mm-hmm. And so we sort of lent some of our efforts to that with the creation of some of these really imaginative programs that, these unique times call for unique and drastic,
Very much so, yeah,
implementation of things. So we've been working with the city and with small business chambers and with different chambers of commerce to ensure that, it's not just Bedrock tenants who have success throughout this, but tenants all across the city of Detroit. I mean, Detroit is one of the, it's like the mecca for small businesses and thriving all throughout the country. You can talk to a myriad of people across a lot of different regions in the country, and they'll tell you that the business community here for small businesses, for minority-owned businesses, for women-owned businesses is really great. And that's much in part due to the community aspect of those things. Detroit really rallies behind that sort of underdog and attaches itself to that fighter story, because it just embodies the whole personality that Detroiters have had for centuries. And so I think we wanted to kind of fit in where we could along those lines. And again, it's about, Bedrock doesn't do well if the entire city of Detroit doesn't do well. We're in this constant fight to attract tenants from across the country to come to this city, to prosper like other people have in this city. And part of that, we know as an organization, is making sure that we rise the tide, because it lifts all boats at that point.
And I'll add in too, Dave, just some anecdotal, information and experiences that I've had with business owners in our portfolio and business owners, not in our portfolio that, there is definitely a marked difference in being in a Bedrock property in which, we were able to provide rent relief and some that are not. So, I think that looking at it in terms of if they survive, what I would more say is that if they don't survive, it's not because they couldn't pay their rent, right? So
Right.
there are definitely other mitigating factors that are going to impact.
Oh, there are. I mean, you've got supply chain issues. You've got rising prices on raw materials. Everything from food to whatever else. I mean, it's not easy to be running any kind of business right now.
Absolutely, and while so one of the things that we did with this is said you don't have to worry about rent, right? There's so many other things that business owners are worrying about, are concerned about. That worrying about rent, we were able to say, focus on these other things, and we are partners in your business in this case. So I don't think that it's going to make the sole and only difference in whether they survive post-COVID, but we know right now it is a huge burden off of the backs of tenants and anywhere where there are landlords that have the ability to consider looking at lease structures and rent structures that can help the businesses survive post-COVID, it's only going to be better for the landlord because the cost of bringing in new tenants and tenant build-outs and all of those things will far exceed the idea of working with your existing tenants that are committed to their businesses. And so that's really what we focused on.
So are you guys sharing, this is something that I don't know the commercial real estate business at all. Are you guys sharing best practices? Meaning, like, if you have 10 restaurants and 6 of them shifted a little bit during Corona, right, and are doing things very well and they're profitable, and you have 4 of them that are struggling, are you sharing best practices, or is that an ethics thing? Because I would assume that the ones that are doing well don't want to share, but you're talking about rising all the boats. So I'm like, where do you guys fall into that? I'm just curious as to how that plays.
I would say,
I can speak.
Oh, go ahead, Jeremy.
I'm sorry. I was going to say I can speak a little bit to that. Our tenants have built in a network with one another, so they're in constant communication. And just as much as the restaurant A is successful, they also don't want to be next to a boarded up building if a tenant has to leave.
Right.
And so those things come into play when people are looking at the success of it all. And we, what we as Bedrock try to do is to create a unique mix of tenants. We put local and national retailers right next to each other. So if someone's coming down to visit the Nike store, they might also visit, Flowers for Dreams, which is a local flower company. And so we try to pair those places that are right next to each other. And so what you don't have is this myriad of competing businesses along the same block. So it doesn't hurt the high-end Italian restaurant to share some of its secrets with the Middle Eastern restaurant right around the corner in order to just help those places sustain. So we do encourage our tenants to speak with one another. They often do, and what you get is just this really tight-knit network of owners who they're all sharing the same struggle right now, and trauma bonding is a real thing.
I was gonna say, I don't think there's a business out there that isn't hit by this.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now, do you have any cool pivot stories? I was talking last week about this restaurant in New York that went from being a high-end steakhouse to pre-packaging chops and mailing them and doing YouTube channels with recipes and cooking. I thought it was, and they tripled their business. Go figure. Any cool stories of places that just completely 180'd on their business model and flourished?
So maybe not a complete 180, but one of the coolest things that I've seen so far is a woman by the name of Melissa Butler, who is the owner of the Lip Bar, and it's a cosmetic brick and mortar. Really great story of a young woman who started this business a little while ago. A lot of people saw her on Shark Tank and she didn't have the best showing on there because a lot of the sharks didn't believe in her product. But, she didn't give up. And what she did was, she just opened this brick and mortar store last year in Parker's Alley, right downtown in Detroit. And so she's been, at the beginning of the pandemic, what she did was she turned to YouTube and Instagram and Facebook to start making makeup tutorials. And then she would bring celebrities on with her to do makeup tutorials. And then she actually just a week or two ago launched a new lipstick with the former First Lady, Michelle Obama. And so, these connections that she's been able to establish have really been able to just increase her sales. I think she had a product endorsement from Beyonce even earlier this summer too. So
that won't hurt. No, that won't hurt.
Just a little Beyonce.
Beyonce and Michelle Obama in the same year, I think.
Yeah, no, that's not going to be a bad thing. No.
So Beyonce, which one?
But to see the way that she's still been able to hustle and grind and make things happen during this unprecedented time, during this time when a lot of businesses are looking to pivot but don't necessarily have the most successful formula to do so. Melissa Butler and the Lip Bar have really been a shining example of really how to come out of this thing ahead.
Yeah, I remember her from the Hatch Detroit contest a couple years back.
They always say two things that never. They always say two things that never die in a recession is alcohol and vanity. There's going to be a room for that.
Everyone wants to look good or think the other person looks good. That's how that works.
Right. And I was thinking about one, Dave, as you asked that question, a good friend of mine, Latricia Wilder from Vibe Ride. So this is a gym. Gyms were hit hard during the pandemic. Yeah. And she went virtual. So she was offering online classes and did a really great job in trying to keep her staff employed and engaged. And then since she's been able to open, because she is a cycling and spin studio, she takes her bikes and they're outside. So when you go and so that you're not indoors and in this enclosed space down there on Randolph, she takes all the bikes and puts them outside. So you can go out there and have a socially distanced outside spin session. And so that's been just another, the same thing, Citizen Yoga doing outdoor yoga sessions and Vibe Riders doing, aerobic sessions outdoors. So even with the different industry, even with the fitness industry that was hit really, really hard.
Yeah.
They've been having to think really creatively about ways to engage people because, I don't know about you, you may not have gained the COVID-15 or 20 or 50 like I did, but
yeah, let's go ahead and call it 15. Yeah, let's just go ahead and call it 50. Yeah.
Round down. We're going to round down on that. but to see the way business owners are having to pivot, and I just want to go back. Jeremy talked about Detroit means business, and when I think about Bedrock, how we are really committed. So it's not just in word, but Bedrock is also contributed a number of team members, including myself, that have been supporting the Detroit Means Business effort with the various stakeholders from DTE, the city, all of the different philanthropic entities from Techtown to NEI and the DGC supporting this effort. And every week we are on the phone talking about what we can do. And so we went from emergency response in the beginning to get businesses open. And now we're looking at sustainability, right? So how do we help these businesses pivot? I was just on a call earlier today and we're talking about, what we can do to bring access to capital and how we can encourage the different financial institutions to look at different criteria for some of our most vulnerable and underserved businesses. So this is stuff that's just going on every day. We're constantly thinking about the Detroit business ecosystem and specifically the most vulnerable, which are, the most vulnerable and the most difficult to start and get capital, which is minority owned, sure. Even women owned businesses. So they're the hardest to get off the ground and get capital to get funded, but they're the first sacrificed in situations like this where where COVID is. And so we're always every day talking about what we can do.
So you brought up an interesting point of what, going outside with the cycles and going outside with yoga. Winter's coming up very quickly.
Thanks.
What's
I thought COVID would stop that. Are you sure?
But what's I guess what's on everybody's mind? Is there any $1 million ideas floating around on how to on what we can do about this thing?
I'm going to say, I think everybody is, as I think about that, just trying to get to the next big idea, right? Like it is like, what is the next big idea that's going to come through, that's going to help the business to sustain? And so, I think many people are hoping that that COVID continues, that goes down, and the executive order continues to let up on some of the restrictions on some of these businesses. But I think that it's just like, what is the next big thing? And people are just trying to get through this phase. So when you think about gyms and small gyms, especially downtown gyms, I don't think we've come up with the answer to that yet, because just doing outside they're just getting through that. And for many of them, I don't think we've even crossed that bridge yet, because I think that gets into another phase of having to reckon with this is a thing that I can't fix, I can't solve for. And so I'm really going to say that I think many of them are just trying to ride the wave of where we are right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's I've seen a number of bars and restaurants that have gone, they've built patios, or they've built stuff out, and it's great.
Right.
As Bob said, this is Michigan. It is about to be October. Yeah. And I think, everybody that I've talked to is kind of in that, hoping for the best. And, hey, we're looking at building a roof out here. We're looking at, heating lamps and all that kind of stuff. And we're looking to do whatever we can to kind of keep that, that progress moving forward. But oof.
Well, let's put igloos outdoors. They're $3,500. Let's not put igloos outdoors.
Yeah. Well, and more to the point, and then you've got to have somebody completely sterilize the thing after each party is inside one of those. And how cost effective is that?
How cost effective is that? And then, I just think that we have not even gotten into the level of worry that some businesses might begin to have as they begin to think about the winter. I really think that, for many, and I would even say myself, it's like, let me just have a moment to breathe right now, because even the thought of going through the next phase of this can be a bit overwhelming. And so when we talk about the idea of trauma bonding, or the level of stress and anxiety that it takes and upon a business owner to even think about how to now pivot again. Like, let's just not call it pivot. Let's just say I'm just going around and ring around the rosy at this point.
Yeah, we're dedicated to helping these businesses survive. It's, I won't say we're lucky, but to have had this happen when it did, going into the warmer months when we could adjust and still do things outside, it kind of set the table for some of the things that we can execute on as we move into winter. We've had the opportunity of trial and error for the last few months. And now we move into this phase where we try to take what did work and transition it to a time when we know we're not going to be able to be outside doing these things. So people are still going to want to get outside during the winter. They're still going to want to try to make it feel like the holiday season. There's still going to be ice skating downtown. There's still going to be, the Christmas tree in Campus Martius Park. And we're still undertaking some beautification efforts where, even if you're not going out to an event or to a ball game or something with your family or to a concert, you can still get out and, get in that festive mood. And we're hoping to have people capitalize on that 50% occupancy rate that's currently in place and actually go into some places knowing that, these restaurants and retailers are doing everything that they possibly can do to keep people safe and keep people engaged during these times.
For sure. And I think that's a ripple effect point that I don't think a lot of people really take into account is, without those, without the baseball games going on, without the, fans in the stands for football, baseball, basketball, whatever games, you don't have those crowds walking around downtown. You don't have, those pregame drinks, those game drinks, that pregame meal, that whatever, that a lot of these places have really come to rely on, or even just, the casual, walk into a store kind of thing. It's a tough landscape.
It is, but it's also, to Jeremy's point, what we've been through during this past 6 months has let us know what we're capable of, right?
For sure.
And when you pull together all of these different entities, and here is the thing, that COVID really did not leave space for anyone not to get involved. I mean, you had to have organizations, you had to have philanthropy, you had to have for-profit, everybody had to come to the table with the solution and at least trying to attack the solution. And if it didn't work, let's try the next thing. And if that doesn't work, let's try the next thing. And
right.
That's the one thing I can just really appreciate about being on the teams and in the conversations in Bedrock as we're working on these things, is that it is never ending. And so when you think about how we, go into winter, we're going to go into it the same way we went into summer, trying to figure it out every step of the way. We're going to continuously throw out things until something lands and we begin to see some traction. And you have a team of people who are committed to this. And so just being in that space and being a part of those working groups, and everybody really rallied towards this business ecosystem in Detroit is something really phenomenal to see.
Very cool. Well, hey, I don't want to take up your entire night. Is there anything that you wanted to hit on that we didn't before we cut you loose and let you go?
One thing for me, so as we've tried to continue to just get people out and get people downtown to, patronize these businesses and shops, one of the things that our tenant experience and marketing and communications teams put together was this sort of fun activity. I think people were continuously missing events and things to do downtown. And so we've crafted this downtown Detroit digital scavenger hunt where people kind of, they started in Parker's Alley right downtown. You scan a QR code on your phone and it'll take you on.
Bob loves QR codes. They're his favorite thing on the entire planet.
They're back. They finally proven worth.
We know they're antiquated, but it was one of the easiest things.
But they work. Yeah.
Menus now. Yeah, no, they're back.
They're back. So, you scan this QR code and then you get a set of clues that'll send you to different retailers within the vicinity. So it's not something that's going to be laborious. It's meant to be fun, lighthearted, and enjoyed with your friends or family in a socially distant way. But along the way, you win prizes to different stores. You get freebies. And once you finish it, you get a $25 Detroit card that's good to use at more than 100 downtown restaurants and retailers and service industries. So
very
if
cool.
people want to check that out, they can do so by visiting sitesandDelights.bedrockdetroit.com. Again, sitesandDelights.bedrockdetroit.com.
QR codes and third level domains making a comeback.
Two for the price of one, baby.
Jeremy, I got one last thing. Who's the guy that walks around the office saying, "Call me Mr. Flintstone"? There's one. Who is it?
I think there are a few of those guys around, man.
I wanted to call someone out, but that's all right. You don't have to.
The virtual office now, because there's no more. We have memories of offices of past.
Right.
All right. Well, hey, thanks so much for joining us. And again, everybody check out everything that's going on out at bedrockdetroit.com. And that one was sitesandDelights.bedrockdetroit.com.
Absolutely, it was.
Very cool. All right.
So
well, hey,
we're running that through October 4th.
Oh, like I said, if that's all, like I said, you guys are more than welcome to hang out if you would like to. You can cut yourselves loose and take off and enjoy the rest of your evening if you would like to.
I'm going to grab myself a drink like you guys have been doing, and then I'm going to hop right back in here.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Thanks so much, Liana.
Bye.
Cool. I hit the wrong button.
So speaking of drinking, I think we have quite possibly the greatest drinking game known to man happening tomorrow.
Hey, before we dive into
9 p.m.
that, hold on just a sec. Hey, so Capital One knows life doesn't alert you about your credit card. That's why they created Eno, the Capital One assistant that looks out for surprise credit card charges like over-tipping, duplicate charges, or potential fraud, and then sends an alert to your phone, and then helps you if you need to fix them. It's another way that Capital One is watching out for your money when you are not. Capital One, what's in your wallet? See CapitalOne.com for details.
So, let's say, speaking of drinking this whole time, I think tomorrow we're gonna have the greatest.
I am going to be annihilated by 9:17 p.m. That's my official over/under.
What's tomorrow?
So there's a
presidential debate.
There's a few floating around. There's a few floating around. I think, Dave, you did the best one. Some of them are like.
Some of them are super hyper partisanal, and I don't like it because it's, if Biden says something stupid, if Trump says something stupid. No, this is an equal opportunity. They're both going to be idiots, and we know they're both going to be idiots. So let's make sure we are an equal opportunity drinking game.
I like the one from the Washingtonian.
Yes,
that's how they pronounce it.
The Washingtonian.
What an awful name. It's a stupid name. But they spelled, if he says Gina, it just says J-I-N-A.
Oh no, so I love it. Basically, it says, here's the deal. Before it starts, everyone has to shotgun a beer. Loser has to lip sync to Christina Aguilera's infamous rendition of the Star Spangled Banner to kick off the festivities. God bless America.
So basically, it's China, COVID,
huge.
Voter fraud is huge, and Biden will defund the police, and that's then basically when
anytime Biden says folks,
Obama, look, this average Joe, you got to drink. Oh, there's going to be a lot of alcohol being consumed.
Oh yeah,
tomorrow.
but then, and here's where it gets, so then you've got, anytime anybody says the United States of America, anybody loses their place mid-sentence and completely changes direction. Anytime someone lobs a direct insult at the other one, that's a drink. You must chug. If Biden uses Obama's record as evidence of his own capabilities as a leader, or you can no longer follow what Trump is arguing, take a shot, finish your drink. If Biden's eyes start
bleeding.
Yep. Or Trump describes his financial records and history with the IRS as perfect.
And then there's a bingo card too. Yeah, they've gone all out on this one.
This is the site I always pay attention to when it comes to like these kind of things, because they're very equal opportunity. Screw you both. Like this is
The Washingtonian. Hopefully, if Randy can put it on the Twitters if you found it already.
Yeah, I did.
Would appreciate that.
Yep.
And hey, I want to give a quick shout out, just because the memories have been bubbling up over the last day or two, and our boys Charlie and Terry are doing TEDxDetroit again on Wednesday, and it is completely virtual and it is free. And so you should, if you get the chance, check out their this year. They spread it out because it is all virtual. So go check them out. They're at TEDxDetroit.com. Good guys doing their thing. I think this is their 12th year, if I recall correctly. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Back when I used to have to work from home and couldn't get a ticket, I used to watch it virtually. So that was
still one of the highlights of my life. I mean, especially over the last few years, was you and I up on stage doing that.
I can't believe we got through that in one piece.
I can't believe we made it out of Temple Bar in one piece.
Well, that was the me trying to tell another story and you telling me to stop talking.
Hey, that was the rule. So if you guys have never seen our TED Talk, you absolutely should go search on basically. We've got it. It's on the IT and the D page. I'll dig it up somewhere and throw the link out. But the deal was, before we walked out on stage, because they have this giant timer at the foot of the stage, and Bob says, I am not going to be able to look at that thing without locking up. You're going to have to keep track of time. And I said, okay, that's fine. But then you're going to have to listen to my cues. He didn't listen to my cues.
Well, there was never a safe word.
Oh my God. Yeah, there's a situation where we absolutely needed a safe word. Well, actually, the safe word was the third time I had to go, no, dude, time. And you were like, okay, I will. But yeah, no, that absolutely was one of the best.
We had 7 minutes. We went 14.
Well, we didn't know it wasn't 7 minutes each.
I mean, just no.
We didn't know. It wasn't our fault.
I've still never seen the text wall that Billy says he still has of how do we get these guys off the stage?
Oh, he
You
showed it to
can't.
us that day. You just weren't paying attention then.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, you might have. Yeah, we were both kind of riding a high at that point.
So I finished Ratchet this weekend. That was interesting.
I've heard mixed things about that.
So it's Ratchet, not Ratchet, right?
I said Ratchet.
Yeah, it's Nurse Ratchet. Yeah.
I say wretched, whatever, how the hell it's pronounced. So here's the thing: when you see the first episode, you're like, American Horror Story didn't have any other episodes. They got these two clowns. Look, that's why I hate when they, cast people. She's great, Sarah Paulson. I mean, she's phenomenal in this role. The dude's good too. So it's like, and I've never seen one Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Really?
But like, no, I just started watching it before, like an hour before this, because I'm like, I don't know what the hell it's about. It sounds like a, Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
It's one of the Jack Nicholson classics.
Yeah, it's one of those, I had no idea what it was about, but I'm going to watch it now. It's funny, 47 years later, now I'm going to watch it.
Right.
But, for everything going on with Netflix, it's like they could put out, seriously, the dog pooping show. I'd be like, oh my God, it's so good, because there's nothing else.
Binged every episode in a weekend. Yeah.
Right. Oh my God, you see that one dog pooped over there? Like, it's getting to that. And that was, what pisses me off, by the way? That was Magic Mike's idea to have a website called dogspooping.com.
Oh, I remember.
I believe he still owns the URL. Well, what comes across my Facebook feed is a Dogs Pooping 2021 calendar for sale.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, you missed your boat, Mike. There's someone stole your idea, the Dogs Pooping calendar.
Yeah. Well, hey, but speaking of drinking, I guess, so apparently it passed the Michigan House this morning, or today. How do you feel about bars being open till 4 a.m.?
As a person that's gone to Chicago his entire adult drinking life, like, those nights were
they're not good.
There was some shit going on.
It's not good.
I guess here's the thing. The only places that are going to be, you're not going to see Duffy's open till 4. You're not going to see, casinos.
Really? You don't think the little neighborhood places would take advantage of this more than anybody else?
One or two. Like, it really depends which one. I don't see a Hamlin pub opening till 4. Most of those close at midnight anyway.
Right.
I see this being a casino play. This is going to be a city club. It's like nightclubs. Where's a nightclub that people go dancing? Is that even a thing anymore?
Well, I mean, not currently, but a place like Necto
or Marble Bar, or
yeah, I mean, those things are few. Like the good DJ, those will take advantage of it, but I don't see it being that big of a deal. I don't know. Rogers Roost isn't going to open till 4. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be a casino thing. But holy hell, when we went to Chicago and it was 4 a.m. and they were open till 6, and then the sun was coming up, those were some recuperating next days. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, because I remember going to, oh my God, the drummer from Smashing Pumpkins was there, because I guess that was his bar. Oh my God, if I can remember the name of this place. Best Chicago house music I've ever heard in my life. And we literally stayed there when vodka Red Bull was just introduced. Me and Tulio stayed there till literally 6:15 in the morning. And then we had so much energy, we walked back to our hotel, which was like 30 blocks.
Right. Wow.
But yeah, I
nice.
mean, would you, I mean, I'm at the age now, I have a hard time staying up past midnight, dude. Like,
I'm a night owl, so I would do it. I wouldn't even necessarily, start drinking at the same time. Like, I might, if this were to pass, I would maybe start even my night later than 8, 9, 10, maybe start at midnight or something.
Well, and I think that's the thing. I don't think you would necessarily see an extension of people's drinking hours. I think you would see a shift. Like, you would see, I would assume a lot of places would get dead between 10 and midnight that do this, and then you'd see that midnight to 4 rush.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was always the one that started at 10 because I knew I had my cutoff at 2.
Right.
If I started at 6, I'd be going till 2. So, that was
Right.
But
Yeah.
here's the thing: the state needs to do whatever they can do to spur business, whether it's allowing them, allowing them to goes is not going to change their business
No.
at all.
No.
Closing streets and creating like party zones or whatever it
The
is.
drinking
There's
district.
some
Yeah.
townships that have done it. Doing things like that, letting them drink in the street, like we create like a block or designated areas.
Roaming, majestic, drunken buffalo through the streets.
Exactly. You want to. But that's going to help the small bar owner, the small business owner. Just let them bend a couple of the rules. Let them smoke in the damn bars if they want to. There.
Yeah, dude.
I said it.
At this point, yeah, just roll that back and let people do whatever the hell they're going to do. So, hey, actually, the big story of today, apparently a major healthcare provider around the U.S. and the world got hit by ransomware. We talked about the Germany story. I believe it was last week, but this is the first one to really hit high profile in the U.S.
And now it's a Fortune 500 company too. This is one of the big ones.
Yeah, this is not small.
Go ahead.
So it's UHS, United Healthcare Systems, and they apparently got hit Sunday, and people, basically had their computers shutting down on them. They wouldn't boot up. They were told basically to just leave them off. Don't try to boot them up again. It looks like and I'm probably going to mangle this pronunciation. It's the Rook, whatever, RYUK. Ransomware that at least it's based on, and it is encrypting files and locking things down and sending them back to pencil and paper to get things done. And it's only going to be, and hospitals are turning patients away. They are announcing that they cannot take any incoming patients at this time. They're turning ambulances away. This is going to have an impact on people's lives.
Well, now they're going to get every inside sales rep from every security vendor in the U.S. sending them a LinkedIn note going, "We have helped companies such as yours with ransomware attacks.
We can help you recover from these trying times during this." Yeah.
But no, this is like the tweet that came out. Spring Valley Hospital, Las Vegas can't treat patients. They spelled it wrong. Yeah. Effectively or efficiently because computer system went down at 11 p.m. Still down at 6:10 p.m. the next day.
Yep.
Their excuse for not giving me the blood transfusion I needed yesterday.
Just clarifying, this UHS is Universal Health Services.
Oh, Health Services. Sorry. Thank you. So yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Well, wasn't that the hospitals were verboten from the community for doing this kind of shit?
It was the gentleman's agreement among the hackers that they wouldn't target hospitals because of situations like this, and I guess the gloves are off.
I wonder if this is going to fire up some other hacker group to result in some sort of retribution.
Very West Side Story thing.
Yeah.
They do that. They're already in the sites. I guarantee it that this shit's already it's already happened. It's already going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, and yes, I'm curious to see how this plays out over the next few days because it's not going to be pretty. But on a lighter note, the one story that I truly loved was that apparently some remote village has its own closed internet service provider and does its own stuff. And for 18 months, they were having outages starting at 7 a.m. all throughout the day, and nobody could figure out why. They brought in team after team. They relayed all the cabling. They did all this stuff trying to fix it. They finally brought in the right team that discovered it was this old television that somebody had bought secondhand, that when they woke up at 7 a.m, they turned on this old TV that put out just the right interference to take out the entire network.
What?
It's
so my uncle Tony's Spark Clicker remote, is that took down the network?
Basically,
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's a little remote town in Wales, so not the technology hotspot of the world for sure.
Yeah, but still, a little TV taking down the. I know the answer to this, but you don't even have to answer me. Dave, if Facebook paid you to deactivate Facebook for a month, would you do it?
No.
Oh, I know you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's no. Well, and so here's the thing. There's no. So yeah, I mean, the story came out that basically Facebook and Instagram are putting out offers to people to deactivate their accounts for $120. But the thing is you don't know if it's going to be for 1 week or 6 weeks, and they don't tell you in advance. It's just you're going to be off for some undetermined period of time.
So do they lock your account, or is it like if you log in, you lose the money?
It didn't specify.
Would you do it for 10 grand?
Oh, why not? Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I'll figure out other ways around it.
I do it for free right now with all the wretched shit everybody's posting. Everybody's fighting and arguing and bitching, and it's. I don't even bother opening it up barely anymore. Like, it's not even worth it. It's such trash. Freaking, I don't even want any part of it. So yeah, I'll delete it for free. If I didn't know how to invite people to my Christmas party without it, I would probably get rid of it forever.
Oh, was that back on this year?
I don't know. I gotta walk first. Then we gotta figure it all out. So
yeah, I'm not volunteering to help you get upstairs to go to the bathroom at your party.
It's not that. It's the inevitable. Okay, let's get 4 of us to carry Bob up to bed.
Even worse.
I still feel bad. I think I farted on Billy when they carried me up that one year.
Nice. So I guess you talked about Netflix earlier. I'm less than amused by this, but I don't think you ever got into this at all. But the Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance got canceled after only 1 season, which is sad because I thought they did a phenomenal job with it.
It's creepy.
Didn't watch it. Didn't see the movie. But,
why don't they do more with Fraggle Rock?
Fans are up in arms. What's that? Fraggle Rock is on Apple TV Plus.
See, now why didn't they tell me? See, here's the thing. Like, so I just got done saying that all the ads, all the commercials they ran during Archer, there was nothing on like the 6 commercials that I saw for Apple TV that looked interesting to me.
Well, they have some new content, but it's 5 quick 5-minute shorts that they started because it started during the pandemic.
Right.
So they don't have a full season in production yet. It's just 25 minutes worth of singing.
Well, then I was all excited because like either HBO Max or somebody brought out the Muppet Show, and I'm thinking it's the Muppet Show, right? And it's so not. It's everything that it's like. It's not even like a Jimmy Kimmel show. It's like I hated it because I'm all excited.
Like it's not the old episodes.
No, it's new. Is it HBO Max or is it Hulu? It was somewhere, and I just found it, and I was so excited about it. And it was like, it might be my daughter might like it. My older one. It's not for me, and it's not for my younger one. So
hey, speaking of 5-minute shorts, Randy, we were right when we told you back day one when you first brought this up. Stop trying to make Quibi happen. Quibi is never going to happen.
Yeah, I did the 3-month trial, watched it for like a week, and
they've been in business for 6 months, managed to raise and apparently blow through $1.8 billion. Billion with a B. Billion. And they're looking for a buyer because they're ready to close up shop.
Well, the dumbest thing was when it launched, it was phone only. Like there was no smart TV app or anything. You couldn't even cast it from your phone to your TV.
Trash.
Yep.
As soon as you said that, I'm like, trash.
They eventually gave in or caved or whatever and made TV apps available, but I think it was too little too late. Plus, the shows I watched.
Who's the VC that funded them? I'm going to go pitch them next week.
But yeah, it just wasn't compelling content either.
And I'm sure a lot of that money was blown on getting because it was basically just like celebrities doing things, if I recall correctly. Red, and so it was probably paying them to hop on and do these little things. And
they had like a Sam Raimi horror series where it was like 3 episodes per story, set in like one place was set in Michigan, but you wouldn't know it if they didn't like mention the word Alpena or the word Coney. Otherwise, it was just generic story. Like there was nothing Michigan specific about it except for some name drops.
But hey, compelling content. We kind of touched on this a little bit when the Bedrock folks were on. But I loved the article that came out about the teacher complaints about parents in the background or whatever on their kids, Zooms or GoToMeetings or whatever else. And apparently a lot of parents are hanging out in the background of their kids' Zooms, just drunk, smoking, yelling, whatever. Can we not do that?
I can't see how that's well, see, at least like my first grader is down she's in the kitchen. My older ones are in their own room. But it's like really that stuff's going on? Like, if you know your kid's on like Zoom with the teacher, are you really gonna pull out that bottle? Like,
apparently, yes. Yes. The answer is yes.
Well, there's the meme with the cute Asian girl with their bottomless mother doing her makeup. In
oh
the
yeah.
Mirror.
Well, and it's yeah. I mean, and I guess I'm not surprised. I mean, I've interrupted my kids when they were in a meeting and I didn't know it, just because I was trying to get a hold of them for something or whatever. But it's it's not like I would go walking into. I don't get it. But apparently it's a thing. Who knows?
I mean, some people don't have private places where they can do their online classes.
Check your privilege, Bob.
Yeah.
Shut up. Get out of here. I almost swore on this show for the first time ever.
So speaking of content changes, did you see the new announcement that there's going to be a Sam Jackson, Nick Fury series on Disney Plus?
Not where I thought you were going with that, but okay.
Oh. He's been a pretty great character throughout the MCU, so
throughout the series, absolutely.
Yeah. So it'll be nice to get a dedicated.
It's going to be like the Channel 4 show, though.
I would hope not. I would hope Disney Plus is going to go more Mandalorian with
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was amazing. It had a slow start, but by the end, season 7 was phenomenal. The last season just ended this summer.
So don't try to Game of Thrones me. Like, so that was my problem. So that was the thing. Like, no, you just got to power through the first season and then it gets good. Okay.
Well, the thing with the first
power
season,
through the first 2 seasons and then it gets good. And then
the problem with the first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is you had to wait until the movie aired before they could really dive into the story for the second half of the season. Like, it had a bunch of movie tie-ins. So.
I think I watched it through like maybe the first. I think I watched it through like the first half of the second season, and I was just like, I can't keep doing this.
At this point,
I loved it.
It's 3 episodes, and I'm done. Like Loveland County or whatever the hell it's called.
Oh, Lovecraft.
First episode, amazing. Second episode, what the living hell is going on? Third episode, I'm done.
Yeah, I watched the third episode too, and it's not any better. I don't get it. Why? I have no idea how all these things are tied together.
It was so good the first episode.
Yeah, and it's like they barely remember or barely impacted the characters of what happened in the previous episodes. Like, it's completely start over from scratch at the beginning of every episode. I don't get it.
So where I thought you were going when you were talking about content changes was apparently the staff, a lot of the higher level staff at Spotify is getting ready to walk out over Rogan's podcast.
If they're not edited or removed.
Yep. Well,
and the episodes that they deem that they don't like.
Yeah, which good luck with that.
Bye.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I gotta say.
This seemed like a weird fit from the get-go, like Spotify culture versus Joe Rogan culture.
It's not without precedent. I mean, we did talk about that when the move happened over to Spotify, a lot of episodes just didn't make the transition. So, I mean, like, they were already choosing to not bring some episodes over and in. But, this is getting into, a lot of the, conspiracy theory stuff, the QAnon stuff, the right-wing stuff that seem supportive of it. They want it all gone. And I don't think Spotify, having just paid him $100 million, is going to go, yeah, okay, we'll completely kowtow to our staff and we'll just no.
Well, I mean, they did pay him $1 million, so they can do what they want because they own it now.
He brings on Bernie Sanders. He brings on left wing. He's you know what I mean. He's kind of a pander. You know what I mean, where he just like interviews everybody. Doesn't care, dude. you could have Karl Marx in the flesh interviewed on whatever show, and I'm not going to be like,
that would be nasty because he's dead. It would be the
you know what
rotting
he'd say
flesh.
if he was alive today?
It'd be
Get me out of this box, I can't breathe.
The walking Marx, yeah.
But like, you don't want to ban it. Just, you know, if he's gonna, you know, if he's speaking, let him speak. Like, isn't that what this in this America? I don't mean to
I'm
go
sorry,
off.
I thought this was America. Well, and candidly, I mean, to your point, like that's realistically why they paid him $100 million, was because of the huge numbers he was pulling down, and because of, you know, the wide variety of topics and guests and that kind of stuff that he has. So
But it's not like, you know, like it's not like Bill Maher, where every 6 months Bill Maher brings in Jordan Peterson, and then like tries to destroy, you know, and the crowd's all against him. And he tries to gotcha. You know, Rogan's kind of just one of the guys with everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of great. Like, let them speak. And if
Also,
their ideas are trash, then they're trash.
Spotify is a Swedish company, so they're
no more meatballs.
Well, yeah, I mean, and this is their New York staff, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, but you know,
I don't know if you were the head of Spotify. Let's say you were gonna lose out on like your VP of sales and like your top 10 devs because of this. What are you saying?
You can coast for a while you find their replacements. I mean, it's not an insurmountable issue, and I'm sure you would find other people to fill those roles.
Because I'm listening to Joe Rogan, I'm not listening to Sven Jurgensen, who's coding their app. Like,
yeah, no, and that's the thing. I mean, it's, you know, so like, and they listed. I mean, these are all 100K plus, like, because they did, you know, here are the people that are kind of complaining, that are, you know, going through this, and it's, you know, that are all 6-figure plus jobs. Like, they're all 120K, 150K and up, which, granted, you know, in New York City means a lot less than it does here, but still, you know, they're not bad jobs to have. So I mean, I'm sure you would find people that could fill it. And then, you know, just because the little South Park aside, kids, don't forget, the new episode, the pandemic episode of South Park, comes out Wednesday at 10 o'clock, and is surely going to be amazing.
That's must-see TV. If you ever like kids rush into the room because TV's on, that's the TV. I didn't read this, but this would be fun. What each state should be embarrassed for Googling?
Dude, so there are 3 that I wrote down. There were a number of them that were amazing. I wrote down Michigan, obviously. Apparently, Michigan people Google excessively. What am I good at? The hell is Google going to know? Texas, does my dog love me?
And then Ohio is, does my cat love me?
And then Kentucky, how to become a vampire? Like, that's somebody who's just finally watching True Blood, I guess. Like, a lot of people, like, maybe True Blood just got there.
And then how is Baby made from Indiana?
Yeah, well,
that was speaking of one of my friends in their sex ed in junior high. A kid asked, you know how you write the questions on the card,
right?
And he basically, one of the kids wrote, "Can you pee in Virginia?"
No.
So he thought it'd be a great idea to have like a sex ed book for, like, you know, high school kids or junior high kids, and they have that the name, "Can you pee in Virginia?" I want to write that book.
Some of my favorites are New York, velour tracksuits. New Hampshire, what does Hampshire mean?
Yeah.
And Nevada, Guy Fieri.
What does Hampshire mean?
It is the Shire of Hamps.
Yeah,
it's California. This is very apropos. How to quit a job you just started?
Yeah, I did like that one too.
And then Georgia, where is Africa? It's like, what?
Hampshire is a county southwest of London in England, by the way.
Why do I sweat so much, Louisiana?
Because you're in Louisiana.
Right.
So hey, but speaking of
Jersey, Ouija board spelled Ouija.
Mother of God.
And mayonnaise recipes.
So apparently delays. So
oh, come on! You missed West Virginia. Why is my poop green?
Call the X-Files. Oh, and so speaking of the X-Files, so I mean, I've been talking about this for a while now. Like I've been binging through the old seasons and the movies and that kind of stuff. I forgot how bad the X-Files got when Mulder or David Duchovny like went away from the show for a while. Like I love like the guy that plays Terminator 2 is fun. I forget his real name, but he's John Doggett on the show, and he was the liquid metal Terminator in T2, and he even plays on that
T-1000 Day.
Whatever. It's the polymagnetic alloy, liquid metal. But no, so and he even plays off that. Like there's a couple sequences, like he's the guy that plays the scientist that basically creates Skynet. Can't remember his name either, but the guy who was the computer dude is in one of the episodes, and they kind of have a little T2 riff moment, flashback, Easter egg thing. But yeah, still, it's not good. So I'm just anxiously awaiting Mulder coming back. But so from a delay perspective, we've been talking about this for a while now, and apparently the Star Wars Lego game, the Lego Saga, is not coming out in 2021, or excuse me, until 2021. And so this is the first year in 15 years that there will not be a Star Wars Lego game released.
You're the only one that knows that. There's no way anyone else even knows that. Or
well, that was the headline of the article that I shot across to talk about it, which said this is the first time a Lego.
Right, but if you were going to ask any gamer on the street how many Star Wars Legos games there are, you would say like 6.
Oh, I couldn't even tell you.
4, 6. Yeah.
Another first
but
time.
Speaking of
I was going to say another first time causing delays is no new Marvel Cinematic Universe this year. So the first time since 2009 there hasn't been an MCU movie because
Black Widow
has been pushed back
to May of 2021, which also pushes back
all the other movies.
Turtles, yep. So that
they're opening up movie theaters. They're opening up movie theaters, but what the hell are we going to go see? Like,
and I'm not going, so it doesn't matter if they
open
open something or not. I'm not going.
All I know is there are going to be a bunch of pissed off kids this Christmas. When I say pissed off, I mean pissed off. Apparently, Xbox isn't really good with their naming conventions. And, there was the Xbox One X, and then the new one that came out is the Xbox Series X. Well, people and parents are buying the Xbox One X like they're going out of style because sales are up 750% on Amazon. So they're apparently that just set off red flags that they're buying the wrong one.
Yeah, and I mean it's a great naming convention, Microsoft. Like I don't know, but I mean I guess on the flip side, what were they going to do? I mean, it was the the Xbox, then the 360, then it was Xbox One. Now it's the find some sort of like, why couldn't it have been like the 360 and then the 720 and then the 1028 and then the whatever,
or Xbox 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, exactly. The Xbox 2X
or
whatever.
Xbox 2019 Xbox at the end.
Right.
Apparently, they can return for a full refund to Amazon, which I did not think would be a thing.
Oh yeah, well, dude, Amazon is great about stuff like that. Yeah.
But if you buy this and put it in the closet until Christmas time, and you open it up on Christmas and find out it's the wrong one, is it too late to return it then?
I don't know.
I don't know what.
I want the Jimmy Kimmel videos for that one. Dad, you're an asshole. It's the wrong one.
Merry Christmas, Johnny. You suck, Dad.
Yeah. Seriously, what a stupid name. Because I mean, I have, because my kid upstairs has the Xbox Day One edition, and she fried it. So she's like, I don't have Xbox anymore. I'm like, fine, you're gonna wait till Series X comes out, and then you can have my old one. That's how things work here.
Yeah.
Living room TV, it goes in the basement, and my kids get my old consoles. It's not the other way around.
It makes sense. And the other thing is that the two different models of the new Xbox are Series X and Series S, which if you say them fast, you can't tell them apart either.
Right.
Stupid.
So what's the stupid deal that the guy that's playing the Mandalorian that only took his mask off once isn't playing him anymore, and who cares who's under the mask? Only
So
doing
this is,
voiceovers.
it is a rumor, but I mean, and it's not like, I know Randy shot something across pretty quick that says, the site is a little sketchy and this guy's a little sketchy, but he has been right about some major items in the past. So the rumor mill says that Pedro Pascal got pretty crappy on the set of during when they were filming Mandalorian 2, because he wanted to basically have his helmet off more, and he wanted more screen time because Baby Yoda and Carla was, are getting all of the attention and the fandom and all that kind of stuff, and he's this guy behind this mask. Well, number one, dipshit, that's the role you took. I mean, that's kind of how that goes, that the mask doesn't come off, that's part of the character, that's how it goes. So I mean realistically, I don't know that we'll really know the answer to this until the episodes start dropping and we can see, because part of this story is because of these conflicts. Like, apparently he went to Lucas himself when he came to the set one day trying to get this, trying to get more screen time with his mask off and that kind of stuff, and they kicked him off the set. And so they said, so like so the rumor is the latter half of this series focuses far more on auxiliary characters more than the Mandalorian himself, and that when episode 3 films, or excuse me, when season 3 films, he will only be a voice actor. He will not be the guy in the suit. He will just come in to do voice acting roles and the voiceover, and that's it. So it'll be, so like we really won't know if this pans out until that second half of season 2 drops and we see if this is real or not.
Doesn't he know about David Prowse? And then he's going to be that guy,
right? Like, yeah, well, yeah, because if it's true, yeah, you're the new David Prowse.
right?
I don't understand the whole you're a Mandalorian, your helmet's going to be on the whole time anyway, because there are so many Mandalorians on the Clone Wars that did not wear helmets, and on Rebels that did not wear helmets, that the whole you're a Mandalorian, you have to wear your helmet thing just doesn't hold up.
So I believe that's explained by the different sect that he is. I think that's the thing, if I recall correctly.
And that's just a silly thing they could easily write off in the story, because it wasn't a thing until this series anyway, so they could, hand wave it away or change it in canon or something. Like, I don't think that's...
But they never do that.
No, nothing. Never, never.
Star Wars, they can do anything.
Yeah.
They never do that. So I'm curious how to... I use them every now and then, and I'm skeptical of a third-party service offering this service. Apparently, 1Password is going to let you start storing virtual one-time use credit card numbers with them, which I assume means you have to give them your real credit card numbers, which they can then hook. Because like when I do that kind of stuff, I have to hook into my bank, or I have to hook into the credit card company's website, generate the one-time use number, and then off we go. I'm just skeptical about then giving that information to what is essentially a Google Chrome plugin to then store and keep track of my credit card information for future use.
What's that Bugs Bunny gift? No.
Well, it's a partnership with privacy.com, who's been doing this thing for a while. So, and the extension doesn't get your real credit card number. It's just like giving your credit card to Amazon.com or whatever, who you're making your Netflix or Hulu, whoever you're making the payment with anyway. You just give it to privacy.com and they generate the use card. You get a card number that you can use only for Netflix, or a card number you can use only with Amazon.
Oh, okay. So it's not like a true like one-time use thing like I'm used to.
It could be one-time use, or it can be like a one vendor card. Like, this card only works at Netflix, and if it gets tried to use somewhere else, they'll flag it and say, hey, we got to change this card because
it's been compromised.
XYZ.com's payment system got compromised and your data leaked or something like that. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I think it's a good idea.
I use Google for mine. I don't know.
I would prefer that if my bank did this directly, but they don't currently. I asked them about it when I saw this story, and they're like, that's not something what we offer currently, but we'll look into it. So
interesting.
Again, how many billions of dollars is credit card theft and fraud? And you would think they would do stupid shit like this, like one-time use or MFA.
Yeah.
Seriously, I don't get it. It would cost them nothing.
Really. So, hey, what's your take on? And I love I love and I hate California. I really, really do. Because basically whenever they do something crazy, it means the rest of the country has to adapt just because, it's part of it, whether it's, web use laws or privacy laws or any of that kind of crap. Apparently the California governor signed a bill that they're going to ban combustion engines by 2035.
Like driving or buying there?
They will ban the sale of new combustion engines by 2035.
Hey, honey, we're going on a trip to Vegas this weekend, and then the whole strip's going to be car dealerships in Vegas. That's
right.
That's what happens when you do stupid shit like that. I mean, here's the thing: if you want to put incentives on the board and make it so it, you can't force technology if it doesn't make business sense. I think we've learned that over the course of our lives. Solar is great, but unless it makes actual sense, it's not going to get implemented to the level that you want it to get done. So that's great. You throw out this date, and it's great that we want to get rid of combustion stuff. I'm fine with that too. But if it doesn't make business sense, then, what are you gonna do? Stop air conditioning now too? You know what I mean? Where does it end?
Yeah.
I think it's a good start, and it's 15 years, and California is such a large market that I think, businesses will kind of have to adapt to this or lose even more profit than not selling by not selling in California, period, versus, selling electric vehicles in California.
Right.
But
maybe
I don't think
they should do like Thunderdome, because everybody's pooping on the streets. They should just use that for methane and then have everything methane powered and not shit energy. Right. Right. If they just did that, they could probably power half the country with all the shit in the streets.
That's only San Francisco, Bob. That's just.
I think a better action.
LA's just bad right now.
I think better thing to promote would be not having personal vehicles at all and improve public transportation infrastructure, more buses, more trains, promote bikes and bike lanes, things besides cars, no matter if they're combustion engine or electric.
Whatever, hippie. So hey, I didn't know that Google Drive didn't already do this, but apparently it was a big deal that Google Drive will start emptying things out of things that you put in trash after 30 days. Like, I just assumed that's how that worked.
Yeah, I assumed but
I'm setting up automate rules now. My Outlook's slow because your OST file is 8 gigs because your deleted folder is 7 gigs.
Right.
Oh shit. So yeah, that's a thing.
This just brings back to mind stories of like, oh, I'm going over to help so and so with her computer. First thing I'll do is empty their trash. And like, what'd you do with all my files? You mean the files you had in your trash can? Yeah. I put them there because I knew where they were.
But bye.
Yep.
Once a week, you get a help desk ticket. Can you recover the file I deleted?
Yeah.
You're like,
it's a thing. What else we got?
What do you think about this new security drone? You're going to get one to fly around your house?
Dude, I can't believe I didn't bring that up. Yeah, so Ring, which I have the doorbell, which I friggin' love, but apparently Amazon, who now owns Ring, is releasing a security drone for inside your house. And it looks like a little T, and it's got a camera on it, and you can use it to it's creepy as hell, but I kind of want to get one to screw with the kids. Like, I'm not gonna lie. But like it charges on its little base, and the camera is off when it's on the base.
Bullshit.
Yeah, but then
it's physically down inside the base. So.
Yeah. So then you can tell it to like take a lap around the house, or go see if you left the oven on, go see if you left whatever, go see what that noise was, that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm intrigued by it, and they're only $250.
I could see this maybe for like
if you had.
Go ahead.
No, if you had intruders, and like that thing went nose to nose with an intruder, and then turn the camera like that. To me, that's the only time it would be worth it to have it. Otherwise, I don't want that thing near me.
Oh yeah, I think it would be amazing if you've got like a break-in in the house, and all of a sudden there's a drone sitting. Like it's not super big, but like there's got to be you've got to be able to mount like either like dumb, like the old like like the Boba Fett firing rockets or something like that on it, which I think would be amazing.
I think
the Bugs Bunny just
a more compelling use maybe would be like a second property. Instead of having to travel 2 hours to go check on your cabin by the lake, just get one of these and have it fly a lap to inspect.
Or even just, even if you're gone on vacation, and then there's nobody in the house, for a week or whatever, use that to be able to check up on things, that kind of thing.
No, I thought the Roomba was going to be stupid, and obviously that's a thing.
No, they actually made an impressive comeback. I got to give them credit.
Well, it was dead on the vine, and now, I don't know anyone that actually has one, but you can still buy one at Target, which means that they still sell them.
Yeah. I think those were all the big ones I had.
Yeah.
Lions won. Who cares? It's been interesting watching playoff hockey, like the fanless.
Oh, dude! Shout out. Speaking of South Park, I love the fact that the Broncos. A lot of stadiums are doing like the cardboard cutouts and that kind of stuff. Apparently, the Denver Broncos filled the stadium with every single character from South Park, like even the minor, like even the characters you've seen. And that was just amazing to me. It was hands down one of the best things I've ever seen. I loved all the photos. I thought that was just amazing that they did that.
That was hilarious.
They all had masks on.
Yep.
They weren't just the characters. It was, the.
Mm-hmm. So hats off to whoever pulled that together.
Well, and that's the funny thing. Everybody's paying $150, and then they do the quick pan of the field goal, and it's like, hey, you can't see anything. It's not like,
Yeah. No. All right. Well, hey, is this wrapping us up?
Sounds good.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap things up. This episode 367 of the IT and the D Show. On behalf of Bob, Dave, and Randy, do us all a favor. Drink up your drinks. Get your phone numbers. You don't got to go home. You just got to get the hell out of here. See you next week. Drive careful and beat it.